Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive. We're going to be unpacking some really cool stuff from the stars of 1923.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, the Yellowstone prequel.
Right, yeah.
And we're not just like diving into, the plot and like what happened.
Right.
We're going deeper. We're going behind the scenes with Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren.
Oh, wow.
They're sharing their thoughts on love relationships,
Okay.
aging gracefully in Hollywood, all that good stuff.
I'm intrigued.
Right. So get ready for some serious relationship wisdom from Helen Mirren herself.
Okay, she always has good stuff to say.
I know, right? So you know what really stood out to me?
What was that?
Was Mirren's perspective on long-term relationships.
Okay.
Like what really makes them work.
Okay, yeah.
And she emphasized enduring emotional support, like even more than like passionate lovemaking.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like she's challenging that whole like Hollywood idea of like, fireworks and grand gestures.
Right, exactly. It's more about, the day-to-day, the real connection, the understanding you build over time.
Totally. And it makes you think about like, her own marriage. She's been married for a long time, right? Like 28 years?
Yeah, that's right.
So maybe she's speaking from experience.
Maybe that's her secret.
Maybe. It's definitely something for all of us to consider, whether we're in like a super glamorous Hollywood relationship or just, trying to make things work in our own lives.
Yeah.
It's that deeper connection that matters.
Yeah, it seems like 1923 actually does a great job of showing us different kinds of love.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Oh, totally.
I mean, you've got like Cara and Jacob Dutton. They're the older couple that have that
Yes.
mature, steady kind of love. And then you've got Spencer and Alexandra,
Yes.
who are all about that passionate energy.
Oh, yeah. The sparks are flying.
Right, exactly. It's like the show is giving us the full spectrum of love.
Right. Yeah. It's so true. And you know what? Brendan Sklenar, who plays Spencer, he actually mentioned this.
Oh, yeah?
That it's rare to see older couples portrayed as like still head over heels for each other, on screen.
Yeah, you don't see that a lot.
It's like Hollywood forgets that love can like grow and deepen over time.
Exactly. It's not always about that initial spark.
Totally. So true. And speaking of like shared history, did you know that Ford and Mirren actually go way back?
Oh, really?
Like way back. They worked on a movie together in 1986.
Wow.
The Mosquito Coast.
Okay, yeah.
Almost 40 years ago.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. That's got to add like another layer to their chemistry on screen, right?
Oh, definitely. When you've known someone that long, you have this sort of shorthand,
Yeah.
this unspoken understanding. It's like when you reconnect with a friend after years apart.
Yes.
And it feels like no time has passed at all.
Exactly. It's like you just pick up right where you left off.
Exactly. And I bet that translates to a sense of trust and ease on screen for Ford and Mirren.
Oh, totally. Like they can just anticipate each other's moves.
Yeah, and respond authentically.
Yes. And it just makes their performances so much richer.
Definitely. Now, speaking of experience, can we just talk about how amazing Ford and Mirren are at their age?
Oh my gosh, yes.
I mean, they were both celebrating birthdays during filming, and yet they're bringing this incredible energy and intensity to their roles.
I know. I love that about them.
It's like they're not letting age define them.
Totally. They're defying expectations.
Exactly. They're showing the world that you can be vibrant and passionate at any age.
Absolutely. It's so inspiring.
It is. And it's a good reminder that aging doesn't have to mean decline.
Right. You can age gracefully and still have that spark.
Exactly. And speaking of defining expectations, can we talk about Cara Dutton for a second?
Oh, yes, Cara. She's a force.
She is. Remember that scene where she patches Jacob up after he gets shot?
Oh, yeah.
She's so calm and collected under pressure.
Right. Like it doesn't even faze her.
It made me think about what Mirren said about reading diaries from that era.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
how death was just a constant presence in people's lives.
Oh, yeah. She talked about how people just had to deal with mortality all the time.
Exactly. It was just a part of life.
Right. So it makes you realize that Cara's practicality, it's not just a personality trait. It's
Yeah.
like a survival mechanism.
Exactly. She's had to learn to be strong and resourceful.
It makes you think about the emotional toll, though, right?
Yeah, is there a cost to always being the strong one?
Right. Is she hiding some deeper vulnerability?
Maybe. We'll have to see how her character develops.
I'm curious to find out.
Me too. Now, speaking of strong women, can we talk about that scene where Cara takes down the mountain lion?
Oh my gosh, yes. That was amazing.
I know, right? He's a total badass.
She is. And then Ford tries to take credit for it.
Right.
Like jokingly, of course.
It was hilarious.
It was. It shows the camaraderie between them.
Definitely. It was a sweet moment, but it also got me thinking about the importance of sharing credit,
Oh, yeah.
recognizing the contributions of others.
That's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in our own accomplishment.
It is, But it's so important to acknowledge the people who help us along the way.
Absolutely. It's about teamwork and collaboration.
Exactly. And that's something we can all learn from.
So true. All right, we've covered a lot of ground here, but we've got more to unpack.
Okay.
In part 2 of our deep dive into 1923.
Sounds good.
So stick with us. We'll be right back with more insights from Ford and Mirren about aging gracefully and the power of those enduring partnerships.
Can't wait.
Me too. We're back with part 2 of our deep dive into 1923. We left off talking about Cara, like how she just takes charge when Jacob gets shot.
Oh, yeah. She's amazing.
I know, right? It reminded me of what Helen Mirren said about reading those Cara-ries.
Uh-huh. The ones from that time period.
Yeah. You know how she mentioned that death was just like a normal part of life back then?
Oh, yeah. It makes you think about how different things were back then.
Totally. Like today we try to shield ourselves from death, but back then it was just everywhere.
Right. It puts things into perspective, like Cara's strength. It's not just about being tough, it's about survival.
Exactly. In that world, you couldn't afford to fall apart. You had to keep going.
It's true, but it makes you wonder, though, does that constant strength come at a price?
What do you mean?
Like, could all that stoicism be masking some deeper emotional vulnerability?
That's an interesting thought. Like maybe she's pushing down her true feelings to cope?
Possibly. It would be interesting to see if the show explores that.
Yeah, to see if she ever lets her guard down.
Exactly. It would make her even more compelling as a character.
So true. Now, 1923 gives us these two very different couples, right? Cara and Jacob, the older couple, and then Spencer and Alexandra, who are much younger.
Right. Two very different kinds of love.
Totally. So what do you think the show is trying to say by showing us these contrasting relationships?
Well, it seems like they're exploring the whole spectrum of love. Like there's no one right way to be in a relationship.
I see what you mean. Each couple represents a different stage of love.
Right? And they each have their own strengths and challenges.
And it makes you think about how Hollywood usually portrays older couples. Like they rarely show them as still being in love.
Yeah, it's like they assume that passion just fades away with time.
Right, but 1923 is challenging that assumption.
Exactly. They're showing us that love can evolve and deepen over time.
I love that. It's like a testament to the power of enduring love.
Absolute. And speaking of enduring love, can we talk about Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren?
Oh my gosh, yes. Their performances are incredible.
They're both so talented and experienced.
It's inspiring to see them thriving in their careers at this stage in their lives.
It really is. It's a reminder that you can be passionate and creative at any age.
Like Ford was so excited about those cattle herding scenes, remember?
Oh yeah, he was all in. It was great to see his enthusiasm.
And Mirren is so fearless in those emotional scenes.
It's like they're both defying Hollywood's expectations of what it means to get older.
Absolutely. They're showing the world that age is just a number.
You can still have energy and vitality.
And a zest for life.
Exactly. So it makes you wonder, what's their secret?
Right. How do they stay so vibrant?
Maybe it's their shared history. They've known each other for so long.
Almost 40 years. That's got to create a special bond.
Oh, definitely. And think about all the experiences they've had, all the stories they could tell.
It's like they're bringing all that wisdom to their roles in 1923.
It adds a whole other dimension to their performances.
It's like they're not just acting, they're sharing a part of themselves.
Right, that vulnerability makes them so relatable.
It's true. Even the biggest stars are just people trying to figure things out.
Exactly. And that's what makes great storytelling so powerful. It connects us through those shared human experiences.
It's about finding those common threads that bind us together.
So as we move forward in our discussion, what stands out to you the most about Ford and Mirren's insight and their characters in 1923?
Well, it all comes back to Helen Mirren's initial point about the importance of enduring emotional support in a relationship. It seems like that's a theme that runs through the whole show.
I agree. It makes you think about Ford and Mirren's own long-term relationships. They've both been with their partners for decades.
Right. It seems like they understand the value of building a strong foundation based on trust and support.
And maybe that real-life experience is what makes their portrayal of Cara and Jacob so authentic.
Like they're drawing from their own lives to bring these characters to life.
And in a way, they're showing us what a healthy, long-lasting relationship can look like.
They're teaching us about the power of love to overcome challenges.
And that brings us to Cara's role as the moral compass of the Dutton family. She's not afraid to speak her mind, even when it means disagreeing with Jacob.
Oh yeah, she's definitely a strong woman who stands up for what she believes in.
She's fiercely protective of her family and their legacy.
But it's interesting to see how she balances that loyalty with her own sense of right and wrong.
It creates some tension sometimes when her views clash with Jacob's.
Right, it makes you think, how do they manage those disagreements without damaging their relationship?
Well, it seems like open communication is key. They listen to each other even when they don't agree.
And they respect each other's perspectives.
Exactly. It's about finding a balance between asserting your own needs and being willing to compromise.
That's a valuable lesson for all of us.
It is, whether we're dealing with family conflicts or disagreements in other areas of life.
It's a reminder that it's okay to have different opinions as long as we respect each other.
And choose connection over conflict.
So we've talked about enduring love, facing challenges, and aging gracefully. What do you think is the most important takeaway from all of this?
Well, for me, it's the reminder that life is a journey and love is constantly evolving. It's about finding joy in the present moment, learning from our experiences, and supporting each other through thick and thin.
I love that. It's a message of hope and resilience.
And it makes me even more excited to see how the rest of the season unfolds.
Me too. We've got more to discuss, but we'll have to save it for part 3 of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
Don't worry, we'll be back with even more insights from Ford and Mirren, and we'll delve deep into those themes of love, family, and legacy.
Can't wait.
We're back for the final part of our deep dive into 1923. It's been a fascinating conversation, right?
It has. We've talked about so much love relationships aging.
And those amazing performances by Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren.
I know, right? They're both so captivating to watch.
Totally. It's like they're bringing their whole lives to these roles.
Like all their experiences and wisdom.
Especially Ford with those cattle herding scenes. Remember, he was so into it.
Oh, yeah. I love that. You could tell he was having a blast.
It's that kind of energy that I think keeps them both going, you know?
Definitely. It's like they're not afraid to embrace life to the fullest.
And Mirren's comment about death being a constant presence back then, it really stuck with me.
Me too. It gives you a new perspective on Cara's strength. You know.
Like she's had to build up this resilience in order to survive.
But we were talking earlier about whether that strength could be masking some deeper vulnerability.
Right? Like maybe she's pushing down her emotions to cope.
Exactly. I wonder if the show will explore that more.
Me too. It's interesting to see if she ever lets her guard down.
But either way, it's inspiring to see them both thriving at this stage in their careers.
Absolutely. It's like they're proving that age doesn't have to define you.
That you can still be passionate and creative and full of life.
Like they're defying Hollywood's expectations of what it means to get older.
And showing the world that you can age gracefully without losing your spark.
Makes you wonder what their secret is.
Right. How do they maintain that energy and enthusiasm?
Maybe it's that shared history they have. You know, they worked together almost 40 years ago.
Wow. That's a long time.
It is. It's got to create a special kind of connection.
Oh, definitely. Think about all the stories they must have from all those years.
It's like they're bringing all that richness to 1923.
It adds a whole other layer to their performances.
Like they're not just acting, they're sharing a part of themselves.
That vulnerability makes them so relatable.
Even the biggest stars are just people trying to figure things out.
Exactly. And that's what makes great storytelling so powerful. It's about those shared human experiences.
It's about those common threads that connect us all.
So as we wrap up our deep dive, what stands out to you the most?
You know, it all comes back to Helen Mirren's point about enduring emotional support in a relationship. It's a theme that runs through the entire show.
I agree. It makes you think about her own long marriage and how he's made it work.
And Ford's been with his partner for a long time, too.
They both seem to understand that relationships take work and commitment.
And maybe that's why their portrayal of Cara and Jacob feels so authentic.
Like they're drawing from their own experiences to bring these characters to life.
And in a way, they're teaching us about the power of love to overcome challenges.
So as we say goodbye to 1923 for now, what are your final thoughts?
Well, I think it's a powerful story about love, family, and legacy. And it's a reminder that life is a journey with its ups and downs.
But that love can be a constant source of strength and support.
It's a message that resonates with me deeply.
Me too. And I think it's one that we can all carry with us.
So what do you think? What did you learn about love and relationships from our deep dive?
We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share with us, and let's keep the conversation going.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of 1923.
We'll see you the next time for another deep dive.